the wonderful world of technology and Zoom. We have a quorum. Councillor Richardson has joined us through the internet. So she's in Toronto right now. Hi, Heather. Hi, Councillor Richardson. Sorry. Okay, with that, on that note of calling the council meeting to order, in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge our meeting place. The City of Flin Flon Council Chambers is situated on the ancestral lands of Treaty 5 territory. We would like to acknowledge that we also work in partnership with the First Nations of Treaty 6 and 10 territories and the Métis Nation. I would now ask Councillor Slip for a reading and confirming of the minutes.
Yes, sir. 10-01. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held February 20th, 2024 be adopted as received.
Seconder, Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Carried. So council, just I guess for housekeeping, Councillor Richardson's just raising her hand. I can see her. She's right in front of me on Zoom in a hotel in Toronto, so just so everyone knows. Okay, we'll move to resolutions. Councillor Eagle.
Yes, thank you. The first resolution that I have is Resolution 10-02. Be it resolved that the accounts in the amount of $816,884.73 be approved for payment.
Seconder, Councillor Slip. All in favor? Carried.
And I would just note for the public that these checks can be viewed online as well as all our meetings in the next day or two. The second resolution I have to read is the amendment development plan. It's not a resolution, sorry, it's a final reading of a bylaw. And it's bylaw 2023-18. It is attached to final reading 10-05. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2023-18 of the City of Flin Flon to amend the City of Flin Flon Development Plan bylaw number 37/83 be done and finally passed.
Seconder, Councillor Slip. All in favor? Carried.
Okay. The next one is also final reading of bylaw 2023-19. The amend zoning plan 10-06. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2023-19 of the City of Flin Flon to amend the City of Flin Flon zoning plan bylaw number 27-84 be done and finally passed.
Seconder, Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Carried.
And moving along, we have traffic amendment, and this is to amend a bylaw, Resolution 10-03. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-03, being a bylaw of the City of Flin Flon, to amend bylaw 5/2003, a bylaw of the City of Flin Flon. This is for the regulation of traffic and parking. Schedule M, and that's designated parking spaces, be read a first time and passed on first reading.
Seconder, Councillor Slip. All in favor? Carried.
And bylaw 2024-01 regarding fees, fines, and charges to amend schedules A, B, C, D, G, H, and I. This is final reading 10-04. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-01, being a bylaw of the City of Flin Flon, to amend the City of Flin Flon fees, fines, and charges, bylaw number 2023-03, be done and finally passed.
Seconder, Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Carried.
And I believe I have one more, and that is the RCMP lease agreement. Resolution 10-07, be it resolved that the agreement between the City of Flin Flon and HMTQ as represented by the minister responsible for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police for the lease of 96 Hacknott Street for the Flin Flon RCMP detachment be ratified and approved signature by the proper officers of the City of Flin Flon.
Seconder, Councillor Slipp. All in favor? Carried.
And this is my last one of the evening. This is Resolution 10-08. It is the 2024 Airport Hangar Agreement regarding Isabel Kennedy. Be it resolved that the agreement between the City of Flin Flon and Isabel Kennedy for hangar lot lease number 1 be ratified and approved for signature by the proper officers of the City of Flin Flon.
Seconder, Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Slipp.
2024 Airport Hangar Agreement with Car Enterprises Limited, 10-09. Be it resolved that the agreement between the City of Flin Flon and Car Enterprises Limited for hangar lot lease number 3 be ratified and approved for signature by the proper officers of the City of Flin Flon.
Seconder, Councillor Eagle. All in favor? Carried.
2024 Airport Hangar Agreement, Sask OBA Outfitters, 10-10. Be it resolved that the agreement between the City of Flin Flon and Sask OBA Outfitters for hangar lot lease number 2 be ratified and approved for signature by the proper officers of the City of Flin Flon.
Seconder, Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Carried.
2024 Agreement, Ouellette Septic Limited, 10-11. Be it resolved that the City of Flin Flon entered an agreement with the Ouellette Septic Limited for the septic tank pump house in Channing, and that the mayor and the chief administrative officer be authorized to sign the agreement on behalf of the city.
Seconder, Councillor Eagle. All in favor? Carried.
Continuing on, tax sale Manitoba amendment resolution number 3, passed February 2024 from 2024 to 2023, 10-12. Be resolved that the designated year be amended for which properties in arrears be offered for sale by auction be 2023, meaning all properties with outstanding taxes from the year 2022 or prior.
Seconder, Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Carried.
Alliance Engineering Services, Inc., Contract Whitney Forum, HVAC Upgrades, 10-13. Be it resolved that the agreement between the City of Flin Flon and Alliance Engineering Services for the design of upgrades to the Whitney Forum's HVAC be ratified and approved for signature by the proper officers of the City of Flin Flon.
Seconder, Councillor Richardson. All in favor? Carried.
And finally, granted leave, Mayor Fontaine, 10-14. Be it resolved that Council grant Mayor Fontaine leave of absence for the March 19th, 2024 council meeting.
Seconder, Councillor Eagle. All in favor? Carried. Can I get a motion for adjournment? Councillor Eagle. And we are adjourned. We'll open it up to questions from the press. So Rob, that would...
I got a couple of questions here. It says here, be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-01, being a bylaw of the City of Flin Flon to amend the City of Flin Flon fees, fines, and charges. What specifically is that?
Fees for city facilities.
Yes, that's right. Fees for city facilities.
Okay.
It's also fees, for instance, the airport has fees that they charge that aren't necessarily done by contract. So parking fees, for instance.
Right.
And so we'll do that, those types of things.
So fees for city facilities plus airport fees.
Yeah.
Okay. And it says here, be it resolved that the bylaw 2023-18 be finally done and passed for this Parks and Rec Act. You're talking about that piece of property outside the radio station for that assisted living place, right?
Yes.
Is that what that
That's
is?
the zoning, yes, that is
And
correct.
that's the final reading, and then, so they are gonna build something there then?
Well, now we can talk to the developer. right?
Okay.
Because we couldn't do anything when it wasn't zoned properly.
Okay. Just one more This, what was this Royal Mounted Police thing, it's for a lease, are they, what is that, what can you say specifically is happening there?
The Royal, RCMP has always leased a portion of the fire station.
Oh,
And so this is just a continuing lease. It's a year-by-year lease this time. Last time it was a 3-year. And so it's still deemed to be 3 years, but they're paying based on year-by-year because they want to have shovels in the ground at some time in 2024 for the new RCMP.
where's that going? Oh, it's going over where that pack place was.
No, it's going between the community hall and the HB compound where there used to be that apartment block.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what piece of property would you say that is then?
Well, it's property that belongs to HUD Bay right now, so
Right.
we're trying to annex it into our municipality as well.
And when are they gonna start building that?
They're supposed to be putting shovels in the ground 2024.
Okay, so sometime in 2024.
Yeah.
And basically that bylaw is just there to pay their lease with
That's,
us.
so as long as they're gonna be continuing to lease while they're building,
Sure.
then they can pay the rent to us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else, Rob?
No, I just wanted some clarifications to understand everything, but thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and I also wanted to clarify something on the term for the police lease, which I'm only gonna say once, even though it rhymes, and it kind of rolls off the tongue, guys. I wanted to, because I read really quickly the first page of lease agreement. Granted, the first page isn't always going to tell you a whole lot, frankly, it doesn't usually, but I did notice that at least in the past, it had been a 3-year agreement. And in here it says to occupy the premises for a period of 3 years commencing on the first day of April 2024, terminating on the 31st day of March 2027. So then is that the term, or is it, as you said, something that would be re-upped every year if needed?
It's going to have to be rediscussed every year. Even though it does say 3 years, they're looking at it as a 1 year at a time. So they've ensured that we're not gonna rent it to someone else next year. But they don't know for sure when the RCMP building itself will be available.
Okay.
So it could be after 2 years, it could be available beginning of 2026, for instance, and then they won't need that facility, so.
Yeah. So then this would basically be like an option agreement, kind of? Like you have 1 year and then you can talk about something for another year and then on top of that, or?
Well, it's there for, like, essentially, we've agreed to 3 years if they need it for 3 years,
Okay.
so.
All right. Probably too early to ask, but is there any plans the city has for that building once the police move out?
It is a little too early to ask. We've had some sort of brainstorming sessions, but only thinking out of the box. I know that Jason is interested in expanding the training that he does to various firefighters in northern Manitoba who come here. And so we could look at utilizing that space for larger training capacity, for allowing people maybe even a place to stay right in the training facility. So just broad-based ideas at this point.
Still broad strokes.
Yeah.
Early days.
Yeah.
I wanted to check up on the parking bylaw as well. Keep in mind, I've only had like a couple minutes to look this over, so the answer's probably in here somewhere. But wanted to ask about the traffic amendment, regulation of traffic and parking spaces. There is a schedule down on here, a hyperlink that as hard as I'm trying, I can't click it on the paper. What are we looking at for this? Is this the same thing that was talked about around Farm Safe last year, or is this a different change?
This is the one on Half Street by Infernos.
Okay.
That's what this is, and this just simply cleans up what that designated parking space is and how far it goes,
Okay.
from where to where, yeah.
So, getting answers in this package somewhere, but I might as well ask it, maybe Manuel could help me out with it. What are we looking at for the way it's supposed to look now?
The difference is that it will be lengthened a little bit to get us to the point where it's a little bit more of a flat area as opposed to rolling down a hill. And we're thinking more along the lines of people with mobility challenges.
Okay. So then are we talking about like a fix of a sidewalk there too, or just the street, or like what are we looking at?
Yeah, at this point, it's just the traffic amendment, but once that's done and cleared out of the way, then we can look at other options.
And this is over by the Inferno Shawarma, you said?
Yeah,
And what is
in the
it?
front of it on Half Street.
It's like a parking spot,
Yes,
and you're gonna lengthen it.
Yeah, I think it's a curve, I think it might be a yellow curve.
Okay, and so you're gonna lengthen it, it's just for more room, or?
And for safety, for people getting out of their vehicles.
Okay.
It is kind of a sketchy sidewalk, but hey, it happens. Also want to, of course, didn't think you're gonna be able to get final reading on the development plan and zoning plan memo without me asking about it, come on. I wanted to, before we get into the meat of this and what this is gonna mean going forward, I wanna know kind of what happened since the last time this got brought up in front of council. Obviously, this went to the village board. Obviously, if it's here, they've given the thumbs up to it. But what else has all happened since the last time this showed up at a meeting?
That's essentially it. We received an email saying that we had approval to move forward.
Okay. When did you get it?
I'll have to go back and look a week ago.
Ballpark.
Yes.
Early March.
That late
Early March,
February, maybe a
February.
week ago.
Well, still.
It was recent.
Yeah.
It was recent. It was within the last week to 10 calendar days.
And Lynn, you talked a little bit about what this means going forward, just in brief, but like, well, obviously the zoning means that you can now actively take on a role as a city in having this brought to people's attention as a possible location for the assisted living. What's that going to look like right now? What's the immediate plan once this is in?
I think the immediate plan would be to let the developer that's interested in that property for the assisted living know that we've passed that this has passed. And then at that point, then we start other conversations, which include building drawings and, are you still interested, all that sort of stuff. So it's still a pretty, also broad-based conversation, but at least now we have this part of it completed.
Are there any other public meetings that need to be done with this? As of right now, there might be, again, if somebody later builds on it, that's another step, but like.
At the moment, no.
Okay. All right. And just to confirm, the zoning and development plan changes as outlined here are the same ones that they were before in the second and first reading?
Yes.
It's a dumb question, but I could ask.
No.
RCMP lease agreement, already asked that. Also wanted to ask about this thing here on the second page, the Alliance Engineering Service contract for HVAC upgrades to a form. Leaf through this again very quickly. My speed reading is not, especially not right now with a horrible headache, but I noticed there was a price tag in there of $200K. Did I read that correctly, or is that what the city's going to need to pay on this, or?
No, it's not the city's. What we have is we have $90-some thousand from climate change grant.
Okay.
And we have another $75,000 from a Building Sustainable Communities grant, which is going towards that.
Okay. Are these both federal or are these federal provincial?
No, the BSC, Building Sustainable Communities, is provincial. And actually the climate change one might be provincial as well, because when we received approval for that grant, we were then told to apply for a much larger one, which is federal. And we've had some positive feedback on the application we put in, which could be closer to the millions, and which would then follow through with this. So we're waiting to see about that grant as well, but we can do this in the meantime.
So 90,000 for a climate change grant, what was the other grant you said?
Building Sustainable Communities.
And that's 30,000?
75,000.
Sorry, was it building?
Building, BSC, Building Sustainable Communities.
Sorry, then how much was that one?
75.
75.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what are we looking at for scale of this? Are we talking like a completely remodel of the building's HVAC, or are we talking partial, like what's the scope?
Yeah, it depends how much money we get, but the original goal was to look at replacing the diesel that we're
Yes.
using.
The boiler.
Yeah, for something that is definitely energy efficient and green.
And more modern.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wouldn't be hard to do more modern than some of the ones we have here. Jeez. I've seen the boiler at the Sportex too before that got swapped out, and good lord, that thing looked like it belonged on an old steam train. Also, probably too early to tell, but are we looking at an exact timetable for when this might be done, or?
We probably can give you that information when we find out for sure about that second grant. Like, this will be done fairly quickly, probably before the end of March, because the Building Sustainables grant has a March 31st deadline. And so we'll need to meet that deadline in order to qualify for the 75,000. But then we'll wait to hear about the second grant, and then we can talk about that once we know.
And also, while we're on the subject of the forum, is the city planning any other improvements to the facility near or long term? Like, or are we talking about any sort of like structural or like, for desperate want of a better phrase, because it'll be more for Councillor Slip's duties on the board than for the council with game day experience stuff. Are we talking about anything that changes for the forum along with this in the next little bit?
We're looking at helping with sound system. We have it out for a tender now. We know that sound system isn't great, although I will tell you that Michael Funk and a sound engineer looked at the board we have, adjusted it, and it sounds a lot better. Is it perfect? No, but it's going to get us through until we're able to come up with a deal for the new sound system. I guess they would get it adjusted and then somebody would mess with it, so that board has now been locked, so nobody can get at it. And I noticed on the weekend that the sound was far better. So
somebody
that's
was conspicuous by his absence last week. He had two that likes to play with that system.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was them, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen anymore. And yeah, so yeah, we're looking at a new sound system.
When is that? Is that going for the playoffs?
No, although the Bombers suggested that, there's no possible way that it could.
Right.
Unless they wanted to give up ice time.
I could just hear the excitement in your voice when you thought that might come in the next little bit.
Well, no, I just heard a lot about it. I've heard so many different stories about it.
No, it's going to be in the off season.
Yeah, because I mean, of course.
If we come up with the right
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, as Councillor Slip says, and from a finance perspective, as everyone knows, we're being very, very cautious without trying to deplete everything that we have, because we are moving forward. We are moving forward in a very positive way, but we still have to be very fiscally conscious
Of course.
of what these challenges are. On we go.
Also wanted to check and see if there was any update from the grant that was received at the last meeting for the sustainability project and the sustainable bus, or the accessible bus. Any updates on that? Any changes? Any sort of?
We're just waiting for the agreement so we can sign it, and then we'll be able to start doing things like ordering the bus.
Okay. And also wanted to ask real quick, because we got a lot of vacancies on the table here. Wasn't entirely sure where everybody went. Obviously, Mayor Fontaine's whereabouts are known, but for the other councillors who are not here, where are we?
Councillor Richardson and Councillor Hanson are in Toronto at the PDAC convention, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback from Councillor Richardson before about networking and some really positive things, so we'll talk about that more when she gets
What
back.
conference is that, Mike?
PDAC. Heather, what does that, Councillor Richardson, what does that stand for?
It's the Prospectors and Developers Association of Canada.
Prospectors Developers Association of Canada. And it's a huge mining conference, am I right, Councillor Richardson? She and Councillor Hanson have done yeoman's duty down there, connecting with people. So again, we'll know more about when she gets back. And Councillor Allison Dallas Funk is lucky enough to be on a cruise.
I will withhold my jealousy.
We're all jealous.
Jeez. But also wanted to ask, and I don't know if, because again, we've had such turnover with council, I don't know if we've had councillors who have been to PDAC last year. I believe, Lynn, you've gone a few times.
No.
Have you not?
No, I've never been to PDAC, but Councillor Richardson was at PDAC last year with Brooke White, who was our economic development officer at the time.
Yes. Fair enough. So then I think this question probably be best directed at Councillor Richardson. I hope she can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. I just wanted to double check, because I've never been 100% sure what the role of municipal officials is at PDAC. Like councillors or, anybody relating to municipalities. I can understand why mining companies go, but what's the role that municipal officials play going there? Like what's the goal?
So our goal mostly, I guess, is there's a lot of good sessions to attend. There's a ton of networking to do. We did get to meet with Minister Moses down here, the Minister of Mining. There is opportunity as well to meet with our Premier, Bob Canoe. There's just building relationships. So we met with Gord Glenn, who's with Minova Energy. He also has GL Gold Mine. We've talked with various people, and just lots of attending sessions and getting information gathering. I actually attended a session today on decarbonization and the decarbonization plan for 2050, I guess it would be, where they're planning on eliminating use of all fossil fuels, so that will affect us as well. Even in our Whitney Form HVAC upgrades, right? So we want to always be conscious of what we're using now and planning for the future of how we're bringing down our carbon footprint as well as our carbon deposits or uses. So that'll be part of what we're planning for that HVAC upgrade as well. So, but we'll be talking to Rob early next week on the radio as well. So more to come.
They are flying Flin Flon's flag proud and loud down there, so.
I guess I could mention too, yeah, so we did bring down Flin Flon pamphlets, Flin Flon pins, and Flin Flon postcards, and we've distributed all that we had already. They're gone, so next year we'll have more, but that was over 250 pieces of Flin Flon stuff that we've given out and gotten to the right hands. And actually, people are approaching us, so people from Australia, from everywhere, are approaching us saying, "You're Flin Flon, right?" And I said, "Yes." And Bill was talking to them, or however that works, and they're just wanting to know more about what we do because we started the reclamation process, like a Northwest Territories was their morning. They're just reclamation process, they're just wondering how that all goes. There's information sessions on all that kind of stuff too, which we should know more about, so that way if we're seeing the practice going awry, we can question that, or just kind of see how that will help our municipality as well.
So to kind of build on what you said there, Councillor, so the people who are coming up to you from these different places and different companies, are these mainly companies that already have operations in Flin Flon, or are we talking about people who are completely, like, not necessarily unfamiliar, but not currently invested here? Like, what's your take on this?
It's everything. So there's a lot of investors here, but which we're trying to get them interested in investing in Flin Flon initiatives as well. We are supporting Calinex. Max is down here. We've been supporting him and helping him bring investors to his booth as well. We're helping support, Coran and some of the other initiatives down here. But yeah, we're everything. We've talked into the government of Manitoba. We've made some good friends with a couple people from the government, and we're trying to just broaden people's horizons and get them to come here or visit here for tourism or invest here. That's really what we're trying to do.
It's very much an attraction exercise.
Okay. Good to know. I think aside from that, I have got no further questions.
I do have one extra one, sorry.
No.
This resolution for the city of Flin Flon and Saskatchewan Outfitters, what's the agreement for?
Hangar space at our airport.
Okay.
Lease for a hangar.
And a lot of those, I can't remember that one per se, but many of the hangar agreements are literally rolling one-year contracts, so they have to be renewed every single year.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why, like, usually most of those come up the first or second meeting of the year, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we did a few in January, I think a couple more even in February, and I think now we're just about caught up in all of them, I think, but.
Okay.
Anything else, gentlemen?
No, thank you.
Okay, with that, we conclude the public meeting and question period for the press.